Alright everyone, I just cleaned for about the last hour and a half and got more accomplished than I normally could do in an entire weekend. I have a brief moment here, so the only video of the day, I'm just doing this one. It's relatively important. Of course I have other priorities at the moment, but I do have a little bit of time here, so I'm going to do this. The Biden admin right now has decided to try to blame ghost guns for the Biden crime hikes that have been taking place in the wake of far-left policies to effectively decriminalize actual crime, instead of saying, hey, maybe we should get the potheads out of jail. Maybe if a person jaywalks or double parks, we should just leave them alone. Shoplifters and gangs, really. There's a revolving door policy in parts of the United States, unfortunately, now. The Biden administration, though, they have a different take than the San Franciscan leftoids. San Franciscan leftoids say, hey, shoplifting, well, it's just a property crime. You know, if you try to stop someone taking the 70 million inch TV out of the store, you will be prosecuted. Because, you know, people are hurting because of Bidenomics, which makes some sense, actually, you've got to admit. Especially in a high tax, a high regulatory state like California. But ghost guns, link in the description, archived of course, are the scapegoat of choice now for the pro-crime policies of the Biden admin. It's not, you know, we've opened the border and then we opened it even more. We got rid of Title 42, I think it was called. That's contributing, I would assume, because you've got millions of dispossessed people who don't have a legal status in your country. They got to get by somehow. There's not enough under-the-table jobs for everyone. Somebody is going to turn to at least property crime. That's not why. It has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with driving people insane with lockdownerism, which was promoted openly by Joe Biden. If not enacted by him, of course, the federal government doesn't do the lockdown thing. The states do. You'll find that there's a correlation between the states being more and more adjacent ideologically to the Biden administration and the length of lockdowns and the amount of economic damage, causing depression, certainly causing substance abuse. There is a strong, very strong correlation with alcoholism, domestic violence, therefore DUI, etc. These are not responsible for crime. Now, the fact that the economy sucks and people at some point, you know, they're going to have to take their 22 out and hunt squirrels probably if they want meat. If they want to ignore Klaus Schwab's advice and not eat the overpriced bugs at some point, they're going to have to do something about it. No, it's ghost guns. They're the problem. So Merrick Garland has come out, again, link in the description, archived of course, and said, well, we're going to make sure that those ghost guns have to have registration. So in other words, you're going to have to have serial numbers printed on pieces of guns, not actual guns, pieces of guns that are legal in status. And this is going to be through, I guess, executive action, effectively. It's not going to pass the smell test before SCOTUS, certainly not with the current composition of the court. It wouldn't actually reduce crime. The idea that people 3D printing or buying 90% receivers or something is the reason for gun crime is completely ludicrous. Most of that gun crime involves handguns. It doesn't involve the uber scary AR-15. Oh my God, you got the upper and lower receiver. Clearly you're planning a massacre. That's a rare event. It doesn't happen very often. Most of the time it happens with handguns, and it is connected to drive-bys and rolling people in an alleyway, drug sales, and things like that. That's most of the gun crime within the United States that isn't suicide. And suicide shouldn't be considered a crime anyway. Several countries and certain U.S. states, assisted suicide's legal. If a person wants to blow their brains out and they're denied the ability to do that, they'll buy a bottle of aspirin. We're not regulating that. I don't see any regulations on the amount of rope you can buy at Home Depot, so it's not going to help with the actual situation of crime. This is a power grab. It's a power grab that clearly will not work. The idea that a part of a piece of metal that can be milled further, connected to another piece of metal, and turned into what the ATF would generally define as a gun, or shouldn't even do that because it's not functional if it's just the receiver parts. There is such a thing as a barrel. There is such a thing as, usually a gun has something you can hold it with. Usually you need bullets too, and a trigger, and these other things. It's not going to pass SCOTUS. This is what they're doing They timed this perfectly for their political reasons. They timed it perfectly so that before the midterms, a federal court will probably strike it down. And then the Biden admin can say, look, crime's not our problem. Crime's not our fault. It's the evil activist right-wing courts that were stacked by Trump appointees. I guarantee that's what they're angling for. It won't even go before SCOTUS, by the way, before the midterms. But it'll go before a federal court, and it'll get struck down. And then they can say, look, see, crime is not the Biden admin's fault. Yeah, we open the border. Yeah, we support states and municipalities that are effectively decriminalizing real legitimate crime. You know, just because a person, shoplifting for instance, decriminalization of shoplifting in parts of California. If someone walks into Walmart and carries out the big screen TV, it probably doesn't destroy Walmart's productivity. But what about the Ma and Posh store down the road? Well, for them it could be a real problem. They're already, because of Bidenomics, because of the Biden price hikes, which they keep trying to blame on Putin, which is absolutely ludicrous. Every single economist in the country should be fact-checking them. Most of them will take a hands-off approach because they fucking like his administration. If you look at the real situation, small businesses, regional chains to an extent, are being heavily impacted by the Biden crime hikes, the Biden price hikes, etc., etc. I don't believe in shoplifting from box stores either. The only time in my life when I ever stole anything from a store was the last time. I stole a little toy car once from the pharmacy, which was also a toy store and several other things. A tobacco shop, by the way, in Woodstock, Vermont. By the way, I apologize to the people that run it. I think that the daughter of the former owner actually now runs that shop. I apologized for it now, and I apologize for it then because I got caught. My mom's like, hey, where did this car come from that you're playing with? Oh, I don't know. Whoops, I accidentally put it in my pocket. Of course I had to take it back. That's the role, by the way, of a parent. And I felt ashamed and never did that again. I need to shoplift, and I never wanted to. Even when I was dirt poor, I was like, there are people with less than me. I'll let them steal the hot dogs instead. The Biden admin is crazy to go with this particular one, especially at a time like this, when you have a crime rising. The last thing that you want to do is try to victimize all of the newly minted gun owners, too. A pro tip to the Biden admin, a lot of those are leftoids. They've given up their anti-gun approach. You have lost on this issue. This generation has decided to be pro-gun. You've lost. You've lost multiple SCOTUS cases, multiple federal court cases. You've lost the will of the population. Hands off the guns. Leave them alone. We don't need any gun control. If anything, a proper administration under the circumstances would say, you know what, we got wars and rumors of wars involving nuclear powers now. Maybe we need more guns in society. I think that would be more appropriate. That's about all. Peace out.